Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This is the FMP. My name is Jason Stapleton, and yes, this is my show. Actually, it's not my show at all. It's just me sitting around talking about Forex trading every week, but I'm glad that you're here. And today, normally, as you know, what we do on this show is I try and find some really good trading opportunities to show to you. And we talk a little bit about them, and I share with you my thoughts about what's going to be happening in the week to come in the currency markets, and we go from there. Well, today I thought I would talk with you a little bit about the progression of how we educate and how we train, and how I've found that traders learn best. This will be extremely valuable to many of you who are trying to figure out what you really need to be doing to make money as a trader. I gave a speech at the Money Show recently, which was actually kind of funny because I had this whole thing planned out. I was trying to do this big joke at the beginning of it, and I was trying to tie the success of traders to the success of weight loss because I think that there's a lot of correlation there. And so I was trying to figure out a way to set this thing up, and I decided to talk about my wife and I we traveled to London, and my wife absolutely hates to travel. And so, but I wanted to bring her with me to London. And so I surprised her. I got us a couple of first class tickets. And I have flown first class in the past with some of the other stuff that I do. And it's wonderful. You know, it's not something that you do all the time, but it is something nice to be able to do if you can afford it. And so I got my wife a nice trip. She was dreading the trip over. And I said, well, it's okay. I'll surprise her with these tickets. So as I'm going over there and I'm trying to work on my speech, I'm thinking to myself, well, this will be pretty good. I can tie in the food in coach versus the food in first class. And, you know, I can remember all those years having to sit in the back. And then I said, I came up with this joke, something to the effect of, you know, as I'm getting onto the plane and I look over my shoulder and I see, you know, that poor schlub who has to, you know, inch his way in between the fat guy and the screaming baby. And I think to myself, ha ha, commoners, as I go sit in first class, right? Well, this was the joke that I had planned for there. And I was a little worried about it because I knew the joke would kill in America. But I had a feeling that if I went to the UK and the class system, I'd never been over there, so I wasn't really sure. So I brought Darren into my office and I said, okay, here's the joke. Let me give it to you. And so I laid the joke out for him on going into first class and the commoners comment. And he and I just started laughing about it because it's a kind of an inside joke. So I go to London and I pitched them this joke, and I hit them with this joke right at the very beginning, and it just dies. Like, nobody laughs. It was the worst, possibly the worst joke I could have told on stage at that event. And so I did what any normal person would do when a joke doesn't land. I just went off like I never actually said it. I was like, I should have just made a comment about this whole thing about the joke not landing, but instead I was too nervous because I don't speak on stage very much. And so when we got all the way done and I got done talking with everybody, everything seemed to go real well. And then I got home and I put the video up because it was free to attend the Money Show. And so I just put the video up and I talked a lot in there about our process for teaching traders and how we train them and how we work with them. And man, you wouldn't believe the blowback from that comment. They were just like, oh, that guy sounds like a pretentious a-hole, if I can say that. Sorry if the kids are around. But that was the general response. I was like, man, I didn't want that. I didn't want people to feel that way or think that. I was just trying to find an interesting story to tie in to my discussion that I was going to have, which was really a fairly analytical discussion about the process that we use to train traders with. And so to anyone that I may have offended with that particular joke, that was an accident. And I had intended to do something funny that would liven the crowd up a little bit and put them at ease, and it bombed miserably. But anyway, after talking about that and going over that speech and hearing the comments and feedback, because people said, man, other than the first 5 minutes when the guy sounded like a total tool, it may have been the best keynote speech I've ever heard. And I thought, well, that was really nice of them to say that. And I said, well, then we started working on, as you guys know, if you have been following me at all, we've got this huge release that's coming for Project 221 that is just like blowing the doors off of everything, anything we've ever done. We already have like almost 200 comments on the Facebook page on about 221. Guys are really excited about it. And I got to thinking, One of the things that I'm doing, the next video is coming out really soon, and I talk a lot in there. I took a little bit about our process for developing trading strategies, how we do it, all the work that goes into it, and I kind of take you step by step through that. But I don't really talk a lot in that video. It's a great video, by the way. When it comes out, I'll let you guys know by email. But one of the things I didn't spend a lot of time talking about, because time is so short in those videos, is I didn't talk a lot about what really our process is for teaching guys how to trade. And we've been doing it for long enough now. Todd's been doing it for 20 years. I've been doing it for 6 or 7 now that I've actually been working with traders. And we've developed some really clear-cut methods for helping traders understand what's happening in the market and develop a system for overcoming emotion and, really getting over what is the biggest hurdle, which is an inability to follow a set of rules that will produce a profit. And so I thought today, quickly, because I realized I just burned a lot of time telling you that story, but it's been on my mind a little bit. So, but I thought I'd take a couple of minutes here and just kind of walk you through what our process is, what we do with traders. So we get a guy who comes to us. Let me have a drink of my coffee here. Oh, that's right. I don't know why God decided to give us coffee, but I'm glad he did. So let's talk a little bit. Normally, this is the process that a trader goes through. Guy decides, for whatever reason, he's looking for ways to make extra money. He talks to his buddy who's doing it, but he comes across this idea that I'm going to trade. And more specifically, I'm going to trade Forex because I've heard it's a huge $1 trillion market. There's lots of liquidity, and everything else has been going bad for me, so I think I'll go ahead and try my hand at this trading thing. Or maybe I've been successful at everything else. Let me see if I can do this trading thing. And so they get the system set up, and they get online. They don't know anything. They start trading. They have some initial success. They think it's a whole lot easier than it really is. Then they end up applying real capital, live money. They end up blowing up the account, and they realize, hey, I'm not really as smart as I thought I was. I really don't know. There's a whole lot more to this than I first anticipated. So then they go on this kind of pilgrimage of trying to learn, and they jump into trading forums, and they listen to a bunch of people who really are no better equipped to tell them what to do or to give advice than they are. And they go through this long process, and they begin to start to use these, they learn about indicators and oscillators and moving averages, and they see what other people are doing, and they slowly start applying this stuff to their chart, all in an effort to try and figure out what the market is doing and to be able to make sound trading decisions. And what ends up happening is their chart ends up looking something like this. And as you can see, as we continue to apply indicator onto indicator onto indicator, we start to see that, look at what happens here. Hang on. Look at what happens here. Our stochastic is buried, but our MACD is just now starting to cross over. Our momentum indicator is already heading down lower. Our ATR is showing that we've got high volatility, and we're also already starting to see our RSI already dip down into the 50% range. We've got our moving average crossover that happened way back here. We're now heavily bearish, but the market's moved into a bullish move. Our parabolic SAR has been triggered, and our Deutschian channels are not even anywhere close to being broken. And we start to look at this, and all of a sudden, guys are just not, now they have a lot of knowledge. Like, they know what an RSI is. They know what moving averages are. They might even know what parabolic SAR and Deutschian channels are and stochastics and how they're measured and all of this different stuff. The one thing that they don't know how to do is use any of it to make money. And they don't know how to do it, and they don't know how to set up a plan using indicators like these in order to make a profit. Mainly because they didn't do anything right when they first started the process. It's not like they went through a regimented educational program like, hey, I'm going to go to school to be a trader. They learned it piecemeal. And so what ends up happening is we get a chart like this. And some of you guys are looking at this and going, hey, that looks like my chart. You're like, what gives? Well, this is, in my opinion, why a lot of guys are not making money. It's hard to stay disciplined when you're not really sure whether or not all the crap on your chart is really having a positive effect on your trading, whether it's adding to your success or detracting from it. And so the first thing that we have traders do is we have them click the Remove All Indicators button. And we take it right back to bare bones, plain old charts. And we start to say to guys, this is what I want you to pay attention to. I want you to pay attention to the way the market moves. Find the lows. Then find the rally. Find the retracement. Find the rally. Find the retracement. Find the rally. Find the retracement. Find the rally. And then all of a sudden, what we start to teach them is look left, structure leaves clues. Market rallies, we get a retracement. We rally, we break into new structure highs. The market pulls back. Where do we pull back to? Look left, structure leaves clues. Market rallies from there. We rally up higher. We pull back. Do we make it down in here? No, we don't. We rally back up in. Where do we stop? At the previous structure high. Market pulls back down. Where do we find support? Look left. Structure leaves clues. Then we rally up and we hit a break of structure. Then we rally up. Where do we go to? Look left. Structure leaves clues. Then the market falls again. We get a break below, close below. A lower low, lower close. We look left to the previous swing high. The market rallies up. Did we violate that high? No, we did not. Market comes back down. We retest once. We retest twice for triple top highs back up against previous structure. Then the market breaks down again. And we get a new structure low. We know from way back here that the market is bearish. Why? Because we keep making lower highs all the way down. Now the market rallies again back up into previous structure support. Look left, structure leaves clues. Market tests once, twice, and then rolls over. And we begin to teach guys to read this structure. Because if we can teach this, this is what I call the skill of trading. Being able to look at the chart and figure out, okay, where is the most likely place that we're going to see the market react? Where is that previous structure support? Where is that particular reversal area? Then we can do all kinds of incredible stuff with this now. We can use trend trading models. We can use counter trend trading. We can use Fibonacci. We can begin to apply some indicators. And all of you guys who have been with me for a long time know 2618 trade, double top, break a structure, 618 retracement. All of you guys know trend continuation trade. You guys know the pattern stuff that we work on and the patterns that begin to appear to you once you understand this process. But the point I'm trying to make to you is the very first thing is we remove everything and we just start purely looking at what is the market doing? Where is the market relative to structure? What has the market done previously around that level? And from that, guys, men and women begin to understand what's happening and why it's happening. And they don't need 15 different indicators on their chart in order to make that happen. All they need to do is look left. And several people have written in the comments section that we had on the Project 221 in the Facebook comments about how this has totally changed their trading. Just coming in and stripping away all of the fat and removing everything and just focusing on the structure has done more for their trading than the past years and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in training. I had one guy who sent me a note, and I get this quite frequently. He said, I paid $7,000 for a training course. He said, the stuff I got for free from you on your YouTube page put that stuff to shame. And we hear that time and time and time again. And I equate that. I try not to take too much credit for that because I understand that really it's you who has to do the hard work. I can show you what you need to do, but ultimately you have to take the steps. And ultimately you have to be disciplined. But how do we create discipline? Well, the first way that we create it is that we simplify the process. And what I do is we take it back to the bare bones, giving people very clear-cut examples of what constitutes new structure highs, new structure lows, how to determine whether the market is bullish or bearish depending on the time frame you're looking at, but to completely simplify the process. The second thing that we do is we create a set of rules that have as little subjectivity as possible, preferably no subjectivity. So to do that, we use an if-then thought process. If the market does this, then we do that. So for example, with our 2618 trade, which you guys are really familiar with, and if you're not, you can download it and watch it for free. All you got to do is go to the YouTube page and look for the free trading strategy in all my best stuff. And in the 2618, what do we require? A double top. And in that, I clearly articulate what constitutes a double top. There are clear rules for it. Then we need a break below, close below that double top, followed by a 618 retracement. And so it's the if-then thought process. If the market puts in a double top, then wait for the break of structure. If we get the break of structure, then wait for the pullback to the 618. If we get the pullback to the 618, then sell or buy if it's the other way around, as a double bottom instead of a double top. There's a very specific set of rules that are non-subjective. This alleviates the burden of the trader while he's in the market, while he's in the most stressful, the most emotionally unbalanced state that he could possibly be in, while active money is on the line. He knows exactly what he's supposed to do and when he's supposed to do it. And the third thing that we do is we go back and we test those strategies. And any of you who've been through a pro trader course, who've been through a 12-week transformation program that we put on, know that that is a critical piece of it. Why? Because you begin to gain confidence, because you see it work. Simplicity, testability, simplicity, a set of rules and conditions that are non-subjective, tested and verified. We call it testable, verifiable, and repeatable. So this, up until now, this has been the way that we did it. What we have been able to do is take this format, old candlestick charts, and turn it into something like this. Now, just from the bare bones, I don't want you to consider, because in the next video that I put out that I think is coming out tomorrow, I'm going to go into the actual systems itself and the entries and exits and how we make those decisions and when we exit and when we enter and how we know when it's going to reverse and all this different type of stuff. But think about it from the standpoint of being able to be emotionally committed to the position. Knowing what the market is going to do, knowing when you need to stay with the trend. And look at how much easier life becomes. I mean, this is unreal, this move. But we think about this, the very first thing, everything that we create, guys, everything that we try and produce, everything that we put out, we do through one very simple filter. Does this move a trader closer to being independent, consistently profitable? Independent being the key word. There are lots of things that we can do to make you consistently profitable. We can just put you, have you give your money to us and we could trade it for you. We could have you subscribe to an auto trading service that automatically put you in the trades and we'd letter of direction stuff and all of that. But you know what? That doesn't provide you. You're still tethered to us. The goal is that you be independently, consistently profitable. And so whenever we develop something and whenever we look to release something out to you guys and show it to you and offer it to you, that's the criteria. And we know from doing this for, more than Todd for over 20 years now. We know that the number one thing that hooks traders up is the emotional discipline part. That they're fine when they're with us. They're trading right along us. And Todd knows this from working back in Chicago with guys who are coming off the pits, working in the prop rooms. Sitting in the prop rooms, working with the guys, got a whole floor full of guys there trading. He's calling out trades, letting guys know what's happening. And as long as he's there, everybody's working fine. Everything's firing on all 12 cylinders. Guys are happy to take the trades. They're placing them. They're being updated on their stops because Todd's telling them, okay, time to move your stops. Same thing when we go into the live trading rooms. As long as we're there, as long as we're right on top of them. Okay, now it's time to move your stop. Okay, now it's time to exit. No, don't exit yet. That's too soon. Hold that position. Guys do a lot better. But when they get out on their own, when they decide to go it alone, it all starts to crumble. All of a sudden, that trend continuation move that looked so certain when Todd pointed it out, or when I pointed it out, or when Akil pointed it out, now doesn't look so sure. I'm not really positive about it. Now all of a sudden, the pattern formation that just was there plain as day when Akil pointed it out to you, and there's no way you could have possibly missed it, now you have trouble finding them. The confidence level sinks. You go into a couple of losing trades, and instead of having me and Akil there like in war room saying, hey, don't worry about it. You know what? We're having a bad string of trades. We're going to continue to trade our plan, and you know what? Things will get better. And they always do, right? We always battle through the losses because we're a community. We're all in it together. But when you get out on your own, things get infinitely more difficult. What we are looking at now is a method of trading that will help traders get to that point of being independently, consistently profitable like nothing that we have ever seen before. And I am so excited to bring this to you guys and to be able to offer it to you to help you guys get consistent. And I know so a lot of you guys are asking questions about what about the what about entries? How do I know when to enter? How do I know when to exit? Just wait for the next video. I'm going to explain everything to you. I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to teach you the process that we went through, not just for the performance of it, but also the process we went through to try and identify how we build the system. And I'm going to show you the two different strategies that we're using with these charts, and what the results that we're getting are phenomenal. But you've got to be consistent with it. But I want you to understand something. This is what I'm going to leave you with today. Everything that we do at Trade Empowered is designed and built around benefiting the independent retail trader. We don't create things that we don't think will be a benefit. And if we find out that something isn't a benefit, we stop doing it. And over the past 5-6 years, we've gotten really good at understanding and knowing what's going to be a benefit and what isn't. And if you need more evidence of that, then I suggest you go over, I'll put a link to the video at the bottom of this page, over to the 221 page, and just look at the comments. Just start reading what people are saying. People who've worked with us, people who own our systems, who've been following our strategies, and the difference that it's made in their lives and in their trading. It's really powerful stuff. But Todd and I and Darren and OG and now Charles, who's new to the team, Akil, we have an absolute heart for helping people become successful and helping people achieve their goals and their aspirations and their dreams when it comes to trading and investing. It's what we get up in the morning every day and do. It's what we love. And I'm very excited to be able to show this to you guys and to be able to offer it to you. But more than that, I want you to understand the process that you're going to have to go through if you want to be successful. It's time to strip away all that other garbage that you're doing. It's time to release for a moment what you believe you need to do in order to be successful. One of the things I tell guys who would come into my training course when I used to teach the Pro Trader course was, give me 3 months. Give me 90 days. Do exactly what I tell you to do. Don't say, yeah, but Jason, I heard this other thing from this other guy, or when I was talking in a chat room, everybody knows that that's not the way you're supposed to do it. Just leave that at the floor. Leave it at the door. And come in and do everything that I tell you to do. And see if it doesn't radically change your trading forever. And for the people who come in and do that, it does. It works. So as you go throughout the next week, start asking yourself some questions about what you're doing currently. How complicated is it? Are you making it more difficult than it needs to be? Do you really understand what it is you're supposed to be doing and how you need to be trading? Or have you just complicated the process for reasons that even you don't understand? If you find that that's the case, then it's time to make a change. And it starts with stripping away all of the fat, getting back down to the bare bones, simplest form of trading that we can possibly get to. So thanks, guys. That's the best advice I can give you for today. I hope you have a great week of trading this week, and I will see you back here next Sunday for another edition of the Forex Market Preview.